Mighty men and women for God. How we doing today? Hey y'all, God put this message on me, and it's something I think is very important and something that I think we can all learn a lot from. And real quick, shout out 4th Infantry Division, Fort Carson, Colorado. They're the homies, man. Served with them for quite a long time. Anyways, I'm gonna call this video Music Heals, right? And the reason I wanna talk about this is because you'll notice on my page, I love God. I love Jesus Christ. But a lot of times we take ourselves too seriously and we think we have to listen to just gospel music or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like gospel music. It is not what I'm gonna choose to listen to in a vehicle. It is not what I'm gonna work out to. And it's really not what I listen to. I have nothing against it. I understand there's a place for it and it has beautiful messages. But we have to allow ourselves to be who we are and enjoy the things we enjoy. And like I always say, you can get positive vibes from anything. What we have to understand, right? I post a lot of rap songs. I post a lot of R&B songs. I post a lot of old school rock. I like everything from Meek Mill to Patsy Cline. That's like, guys, people need to have a range. And here is why, in my opinion, right? When you judge somebody like a rapper, right? Something like that might have some unsavory lyrics. What you're not understanding is what they've been through in their life, right? You don't know what it was like to live in their life, whether it was in a neighborhood that had a lot of violence and they were forced to see horrible things as a child, or they were unkept, unfed, you know, mom and dad struggling, whatever it is, or whatever the story is. I'm just using rappers because there's a lot of those young men and women who get lost in the system, right? And then we get mad at them for expressing themselves and talking about the things that have happened to them. And that is how they heal. And I'm not going to lie. People like Mac Miller, like I said, Meek Mill, J. Cole, you know, some of these artists that I listen to, Montana of 300, you'll listen to their songs and think, there is no way God could even look at them. And that's that Christian, ignorant, stupid perspective. You haven't walked in their shoes. You don't know their soul. You don't know their heart. You don't know what they've been through. And the same thing with rock stars, things like that, you know? You gotta allow people to express what they've been through. Otherwise, it eats them apart and we lose them, right? And how are you going to blame somebody that came from nothing possibly? I don't know everyone's story. These are just examples that came from nothing, right? Got exposed to an evil industry and weren't allowed to express themselves in the way they should have been because of the people like Sean Puffy Combs and that retard, right? And I don't mean to use that word as anything other than what it means in a dictionary. The inability to understand what's going on around them. Evil, right? This is how those kind of things happen, right? Imagine what some of these young men and women could do that come from the streets, that have these beautiful minds, that put these lyrics together and tell their stories if they had God on their right-hand shoulder, guiding them, right? And influencing them in positive ways instead of putting chains around their neck, diamonds, and giving them fancy cars that mean nothing, right? And sucking them into that horrible system. And the same thing with rock and roll, right? These men and women are artists. They're speaking what's coming out of their soul. That is why we have freedom of speech. Here's the beautiful thing. You have the ability to listen to it or not listen to it. You have the ability to click on my post or skip right past it. But what you shouldn't do and what you don't have the right to do is judge people that you don't know. And most of you couldn't go through an iota of what many of these men and women have been through. And I've served in the United States military with some boys that were some tough dudes, right? Made me look like a pony, man. And I consider myself a pretty strong, resilient human being. And when you hear their stories, it's humbling, right? When you think you've had a bad day, I would sit back and do a little soul searching and see what some of these young men and women have gone through around the world. All over South Africa, the inner cities of Chicago, right? I got a buddy from 23rd Street in Cicero, Chicago, man. Grew up around crime, right? He made it out. He did some beautiful things. He's a Ranger in the Army, and I'm proud of him. I know we've misaligned in our life, but I love him. And things like that pump me up. And I'm going to get emotional because when you don't give people a chance to be who they are and to share their experiences and the horrible or beautiful things that happen to them, you're cutting off their neck. You're dangling them out. And you're leaving them for what? They got nothing to offer? I don't see you writing any songs. I don't see you creating stuff. And I'm just talking to the judgmental people. The mighty men and women for God, they're already on this. They're already tracking this stuff. Because we got big hearts, beautiful intentions, and we understand that God can work through anybody. And if you have the mind, right, and the ability to see through the smoke, you can pull a beautiful quote, a beautiful lesson out of anything. I pull so many beautiful quotes out of rap songs. Kendrick Lamar, for example. Things of that nature. You'll find them on my post. We have to allow each other to express ourselves in a raw, natural state and say the things that we feel and we've been through. Without it, we're all going to have a really hard time. And look at the way the state of the world is. They talk about we have free speech and then they censor you. They talk about all this stuff and then these young men and women are judged for living where they live. And you know who they're judged by? People that lived around white picket fences, that sit in them comfy chairs, put their cups on glass tables, don't have to check their bank account every day to see if they got any money or see if they can eat. And it makes me upset because they're cowards. And the people like that are out here living as hard as they can be. It's the same thing like judging somebody that just got out of prison. You don't know what that dude's been through. He's probably done more inner work than you ever have. God doesn't pick the qualified. He qualifies the one he chooses. You don't have the right to tell somebody what their dream is or what they can and cannot say. And I'm getting a little emotional because I've ran into this so many times in my life, and I have also been a judgmental person. I'm not going to sit here and not pull the thorn out of my eye, but I'm just saying we got to switch this up. It's not working. We got to lift each other up. I'm not agreeing with all the things that are talked about in these rap songs, the sexual things, the violence and that. But if it happens in their life and that's how they need to get it out, that's what they have to do to heal. And they do it in a way a lot of times that is beautiful poetry, unbelievably talented to be able to line up words in a scheme like that, put it together, throw a beat behind it, and make something beautiful. That is art. And I'm proud of all those kind of people. No matter where they come from, no matter what color their skin is, and no matter what their story is. And that's what this channel is all about. It's about speaking our truth, being authentic, and standing on who we are. And there's nothing else to do other than love God and trust in him and know that he'll guide you to exactly where you need to be and put the people in your life that are supposed to be there. Mighty men and women for God, I love you guys. I am here to stay. And I'm on evil's necks. And they feel it. And they feel our presence all over this YouTube community. Check out some of my videos. They are shadow banning some of the better content that I put out, like Move from the Spirit, right? Like The Blacklist, things of that nature. You'll notice most of my videos, and this isn't a pump up or anything, get anywhere from like 3 to 1,000 views. The ones that have like 30 and 40, they don't want anybody to see those, right? Because I'm calling out things that they've been trying to hide for years. And they know it. And they know that this YouTube channel is gaining traction because of you beautiful people. Because of like-minded individuals who love freedom, who love God, and who love to stand on who they are. Y'all have a blessed day. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Lift somebody up. This is what we're here to do. Later, guys.